So we will add flour and water in equal parts. And mix it very well. And cover it and let it sit for a couple days. And after a couple days, it will look like this.
Why is that happening?
Because the yeasts in the flour have started to feed, and they create a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast that can then be used to make bread rise because it traps air.
So there's actually a living thing that is in the preparation, the flour mixture, that eventually leads to the bread we eat.
Yes, it's alive.
Is it alive when we eat it?
No. After you cook it in an oven, it all dies.
Okay, that's reassuring. So stay tuned. We'll be back to continue in a little bit.
So, we have here the bubbly mixture from before, which contains the yeast. So when you want to make bread with it, you can dissolve some of that in water.
A stretchy texture.
Yes, it's because the glutens have formed. And then,
And that's protein,
we'll
right?
dissolve it. There is protein in there. Protein, yeast, and beneficial bacteria. And this water, with the yeast now in it, will, when we add the flour, create a bread dough. So we will mix this up till it all comes together. And if we let this rest, it will form glutens and rise, and then we will shape it into a loaf and bake it, and we will have bread.
It will form more glutens than it already has in it?
Yes, we'll see that in the next video.
Okay, excellent. To be continued.
So, to build strength in the dough and trap the bubbles in there, instead of kneading it like you would other breads, you sort of stretch and fold the dough over itself. So it will be loose at first, but after a while, the dough will come together into more of a ball, pillowy ball, that later gets shaped into a loaf and baked.
It's a lot less sticky now.
Yes. The dough is becoming stronger with this process.
I noticed that the bubbles that we saw in this batch looked a bit bigger than the previous one. Is that reflective of it releasing even more carbon dioxide?
That might be because it's been resting at a higher temperature.
Which allows...
Which would make fermentation faster.
Got it.
And then we let this rest again.
Another half an hour? Okay. Ta-ta for now. 6 hours later.
This is the loaf.
So the batter that you were working with yesterday is now this.
The dough.
Is there a reason why it needs to be scored?
That one, so that it doesn't expand in a strange, unpredictable manner. These ones, just because it looks pretty.
Okay, so part of it is for design, but the bigger scoring has an actual practical reason. So does that release some of the pressure too, so that it can rise?
Yes.
Uniformly?
So that way it rises upwards instead of all over the place.
Got it. And then it goes into the oven. Okay. Ta-ta for now.
I just want to see what happens if I brush it in oil. Heard it makes it shiny.
Clearly.
Helps the crust form. Yeah, but it'll sink
It'll
in.
absorb.
Yeah. So that it doesn't just look like oil on bread.
Finished product.